Nigerian cost of living crisis is heaping mystery on the citizens, with inflation soaring amid failing efforts by the monetary and fiscal authorities to stabilize the national currency exchange value and to review workers' wages. Welcome to Business Point, where we x-ray the Nigerian economy and the government policies. I am Kike Lomo Okeri. Today, we'll be looking at the high cost of living in Nigeria. Rising prices have taken many essential items, including food and housing, beyond the reach of millions of citizens across the country. Nigerian inflation rate increased to 34.19% in June 2024, according to data released by the National Bureau of Statistics. This represents an increase of 0.24 percentage points from the previous headline inflation rate of 33.95% in May. The CPI measures the average change over time in the price of goods and services consumed by people for day-to-day living. According to NBS, on year-on-year basis, the headline inflation rate was 11.40 percentage points, higher compared to the rate recorded in June 2023, which was 22.79%. Also, rate of increase rose month on month as headline inflation rate in June 2024 was 2.31%, higher than the rate recorded in May 2024, that is 2.14%. This means that in the month of June, the rate of increase in the average price level is higher than the rate of increase in the average price level in May 2024. The governor of Central Bank, Olayemi Cardoso, says the persistent inflation can prolong monetary tightening measures and hinder the nation's growth potential. He says in the foreword of the inaugural edition of the CBN Microeconomy Outlook for Nigeria, recently released by the Central Bank of Nigeria. Based on this foreword, the Central Bank governor suggests that the Apex Bank could continue with the hawkish monetary policy, which is underpinned by higher interest rates, if inflation continues to rise. This outlook containing this forward comes a few days after the National Bureau of Statistics released the CPI report, which indicates that the inflation rate ticked higher for the month of June and rose month on month for the first time since February 2024. These factors, coupled with the long-standing structural imbalance, which necessitates extended monetary tightening, thereby depressing growth potentials. All right, we'll take a short break now. When we return, we'll be discussing with our guests on inflation rates in Nigeria, the hike of living. Don't go away, stay with us. You're welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Business Point, where we x-ray the Nigerian economy and the government policies. With me in the studio is an economic analyst, Olugbenru Johnson. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Kike.
You're welcome to Business Point.
Congratulations to the team.
Thank you very much.
Happy to have been part of your history.
Thank you very much. You're really welcome. So we're talking about the hike in the price of food in the market and the cost of the high in the cost of living in Nigeria. Food inflation is about 40%. What implication is this to this economic reality?
Oh, well, thank you. We have this conversation every now and then. I followed your introduction and the point that you raised. Yeah, you are correct. Food inflation is about 40% as we speak now. And clearly, you can see what is going on or what obtains on the street of Nigeria. So the implications are glaring and staring at us in the face. You see the purchasing power of the average Nigerian. So what people could do with 100,000. So if someone gives you 50,000 naira now, it's just like they didn't give you anything, right? Because what inflation does primarily is that it erodes the purchasing power of people. In other words, your earning has not increased, but the cost of affording commodities has increased, has escalated astronomically, and that is what we have in the country. And what that does to the economy is that it stifles the growth of the economy, which is why we found ourselves where we are now. Praise the Lord.
All right, sir. What is your assessment of the 150 duty-free import window for food commodity initiated by the federal government?
Well, it's a good thing. The problem is we have always said that they need to look at a more medium to long-term plan, right? So what they are basically doing now, it's good, but I mean, 150 days will soon be over. And I'm sure government is hoping that maybe in the meantime, that will kind of cushion the effect of inflation a little bit. But what happens thereafter is like someone that is having headache, and then that headache, if you don't address the root cause of the headache, you just go and take a painkiller. You will get some relief for a while, but at the end of the day, if you don't address the root cause, you are going to, you may even end up with migraine in the coming days. So it's a good measure, even though we haven't seen the impact of it on the street of Nigeria, because as we speak, food prices haven't gone down. In fact, as at May, when we were at 33.95, that's the headline inflation, people were saying that, okay, because we are now entering into seasons of certain, agricultural products, that maybe that will kind of cushion the effect. But alas, we got a 0.24% increase, headline inflation in June. So clearly we haven't seen the effect, and we hope that maybe at the end of July, maybe the numbers will begin to drop a little bit. But as of now, we haven't seen much impact on the street.
All right, what do you think the organized private sector can do, as well as the government can do, in solving inflation in Nigeria?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So for us to address this issue, it has to be everybody bringing something to the table. The private sector, the federal government at their level, in fact, and the state government, and even now the local government. Because what we do is everybody looks up to the federal government, right? And say, okay, federal government has to do everything. But the private sector also has a major role to play. The reason why we are having inflation is clear. There is just one reason. We are consuming more than we are producing. So every time there's a problem with your supply side, you are going to always have inflation. So we import pretty much everything that we consume. So we are not producing. And that is impacting the forex, is impacting, I mean, the last time I checked, I'm not correct, maybe like 2 or 3 days ago, I know that pound was exchanging for over 2,000 naira parallel market. That's crazy. And that's because we are not producing. So if we promote, locally made goods, and we increase production, and that's why we have said that every time government says, okay, we are going to do conditional transfers, and then we're going to give certain billion will be distributed among households in Nigeria, all of that will never empower anybody. It will just give them, they'll probably be okay for a few days, but that will not solve the problem in the long run. What we want the private sector to do is to get involved, roll their sleeve, get involved in the production process. Of course, they can't do that without, a very good and conducive environment. But we need to, by all means, everybody must be producing something. We have to get into the system and, begin to produce. Once production increases, slowly and gradually, this number, we'll see the numbers begin to come down.
Okay, we'll take a short break now. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Stay with us.
Every government and introduction of new policies, businesses of all kinds and sizes seize the opportunity to evolve and redefine themselves. Business Point on Global Television is where we follow the money and put the facts and figures right in front of you. Watch Business Point every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. as Kikelamo Okeri tracks all the latest developments across critical sectors. Business Point, these.
All right, you're welcome back. This is Business Point. We've been speaking with an economic analyst, Olugbenro Johnson, and he's still here in the studio with us. We've been discussing about Nigerian cost of living, the hike in the food prices in Nigeria. All right, sir, what are some practical measures that can be taken to ensure that there is sufficient food in the long term?
Okay, so thank you. So you mentioned the food inflation, which currently stands at 40%.
Yeah.
And you will realize that every time we have inflation problem in Nigeria, the bulk of it is as a result of food inflation. So clearly, if we can deal with food inflation, we probably would have been able to solve maybe 50% of our inflation problem. However, the question is, what is causing the food inflation? They are staring at us in the face. Insecurity tops the list. So we have a situation whereby farmers can't farm because they are afraid of, being picked up by some random bandit, for ransom, which they don't even have. So we have the herdsmen issue is there, and all of this instability, particularly within the northeast, northwestern region of Nigeria, where we get a whole lot of food supply. And so what we are seeing now is the effect of, events that has happened, with people getting kidnapped. So now we can't farm, people can't go to farm, farming has reduced significantly. So government needs to tighten the security architecture of the country and encourage farmers, to go back to farm. So if farmers get back to farm and, we have more supply of food production, that will also help. Another problem that we have with this agricultural sector is that we still are not taking advantage of technology. So, we haven't gotten to a point where we are farming all year round. So you see there's a time when a basket of tomato is so cheap that they will almost give you for free. And then the time comes where the same basket of tomato becomes so expensive. So we haven't harnessed the possibility of technology for storage So we basically have a storage issue. And then if we also use technology, we will be able to farm all year round. Look at Israel. They don't have the kind of weather that we have. If they have a quarter of the kind of favorable weather we have, we don't even know what more they will do. But they've come up with technology that allows them and enables them to be able to, to produce regardless of the month. So every month there is production that is ongoing. So these are some of the measures that government can look at in the meantime to improve on the scarcity of food.
Okay, is food sufficient alone for adequate benchmark for measuring standard of living?
Well, it's not enough, but it's a major yardstick, because don't forget that food is a basic need. So it's one of the 3 basic needs. So if you solve food problem, you have done a lot. But of course, that's not the only thing. The welfare of the people goes beyond that, but food, definitely plays a critical role.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Economic analyst Olugbenro, thank you very much. Really appreciate your contribution on this topic. All right, moving on, a quick look at the exchange rate in Nigeria. The foreign exchange inflow into the Nigerian economy jumped by 57% in 1 year, resulting in the Naira showing some signs of stability. Analysts attribute the rising forex inflow into the Nigerian economy to the consistent policies of the Central Bank of Nigeria, which have spurred investor confidence and instilled market stability into the Africa's most populous nation. Data from the CBN shows that the Nigerian recorded $8.86 billion in the FX inflow in February 2024, higher than $5.66 billion in the corresponding period of February 2023, representing a 57% jump over the period. The CBN economic report says foreign exchange turnover increased by 180% year-on-year to $240.64 million in February 2024 compared to $85.80 million recorded in February 2023. Similarly, foreign exchange turnover increased by 180 year-on-year to $240.64 million in February compared to $85.80 million recorded in February 2023. Inflow through the CBN rose by 29% to $3.26 billion in February 2024, as against $2.53 billion in corresponding period of February 2023. On a month-on-month basis, aggregate inflow in the Nigerian economy increased by 80% to $8.86 billion compared with $4.91 billion reported in the preceding month, according to a monthly economic report by the Apex Bank. Inflow through the central bank rose by 128% to $3.26 billion from $1.43 billion in the preceding month. Also, autonomous inflow rose by 61% to $5.60 billion from $3.48 billion. All right, this is where we draw the curtain on Business Point today. Join me again tomorrow on Global Television. We are on Star Time Channel 276 and DSTV Channel 365. To stay connected, follow us on all our social media handles at Global TV NG and our website, globaltvabuja.com. Till I come your way again, I am Kike Lomo Okeri. I celebrate you all.